Hey, everybody, welcome to Let's Talk. We are super excited to be here. We have Elizabeth and Linda with us today. How are you doing, ladies?
Great.
Doing wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah.
Awesome. It's a honor and a pleasure to be on your show.
Well, we are so excited to have you guys. Let me give a quick introduction to Linda before we get started just chatting away because you know how we do it here on Let's Talk.
Yes.
I mean, me and Elizabeth already go at it. And now we're going to bring Linda into the fold because we wanted to bring Linda here and tell you about the wonderful book and her career. Linda is the author of My Journey from Darkness to Light. She is a 26-year metaphysical healer and a clairvoyant. So watch out, guys. She might be telling you something that you may want to hear, may not want to hear. You never know. But Linda, so tell us some about your book because when I saw the title, I was like, My Journey from Darkness to Light. I was like, yes.
So my book is about the hell I went through. I grew up. I was raised in a very haunted house. It had about 5 demonic spirits, and my journey through it with me and my twin. How we used to see these things. They would taunt us. How they would speak through us. The trauma we went through. I had severe anxiety and panic attacks, vertigo. I suffered a lot being in that house, and how this whole darkness brought me to healing. And it talks about my whole journey. And it was a real haunted house, still is. So, yeah.
Wow. So that healing and that took writing a book and telling your story, it's not only helped you, it's helped others.
Yes, it has, because some people don't know how spirits talk. They think that some people hear voices. I wouldn't hear the voices. It would give me like mental images of what to do. And they were always negative. So I was inspired to write the book because when I hear on TV about people committing suicide and how, oh, this went in my head, those are exactly things that would come through my head and my twins and everyone living in there. So I'm like, let me write a book so people are more aware. It's not even your thinking, it's something talking through you.
Wow.
Wow. That gave me chills. I was like, oh, okay. Stop joking here, CJ, because this is not something you play around with. So, growing up, did you know that it was demonic spirits, or was it something that you had to go through experience and realize later on in life what you had went through?
Well, I was telling my mom, she knew the whole story. There was a lady downstairs, and she knew that this lady in my book committed suicide, but they didn't want to tell us about it because they were scared we're little. And I knew there was something going on because I would see her through the mirrors and stuff like that. So basically, I knew that's what it was. And then it was confirmed from that lady telling my mom, yeah, my mom used to think we're nutcases, both of us. So we were always at church getting blessed because we're seeing things. But
Wow.
yeah.
So did your whole family have you said your sister. So was it this a family book that you wrote about you and your family or how can you tell us about that?
Yes. So basically, the book is about me and my twin saw it the most and all the time. We were always glued together. My other sisters saw it, but we saw it the most. And then my dad ended up seeing it too. But my mom didn't. And she always thought we were all nutcases, bringing us to church, getting blessed.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
I'm
Good
gonna.
old mom.
I'll tell you when I was here laying in my bed one night and I heard something say good night and I thought it was my husband. I walked in the other room and he wasn't in the house. So I called him and I said, "Get in here now." He was out back. And he said, "No, it wasn't me." And the next day that my mother-in-law was over here with the holy water, I said, "Thank you." And then she gave me my rosary that stays underneath my pillow every single night. So I love
Yes.
your mom because they don't play around. But let me ask you this. I had to tell you that little story because those moms, those are the closest thing you're ever going to get to a saint right there.
Right. She's, yes.
Yes. So let me ask you, do you feel you later on in your life as you grew up, you went into the metaphysical world and you became and the clairvoyancy that came from you, do you feel that experience brought that clairvoyancy out into the world for you to share?
Yes, definitely. I started seeing a psychic myself, and she would give me herbal baths to the point that I started feeling more visions. Like people would ask me stuff, I would see it in my mind. I'm like, oh, wow. So she was clearing out that negative that I was feeling from the house, and I was getting more opened. And I started slowly reading for family, and then later on reading for friends, and that's how it expanded. So it did bring me to that, yes.
Mm.
So when you said you had opened up, when was it? When did the time come to say, I want to, write this, and I want to tell everybody, I want to tell the world, and put it in a book?
I did like 5, 6 years ago, but my daughter was still little, so they were like, you know what, go get a ghostwriter, tell them your stories. I had the book already written, but they just fixed everything, grammar wise. And
Mhm.
I said, now it's time because I feel like people don't know about, they think everything's in their head. Oh, I think crazy or whatever, but it's really things talking through you. That's why I wanted to write it. Yeah, because it's
Mm.
not your thinking all the time. Sure, we think about it, but things that don't make sense and like, why did I think of that? That's usually an entity.
Wow. Now, we talked a little bit before we came online, and you were telling us that your family originates from Greece. That is your family line. Now, I don't know a lot about the Greek culture or anything when it comes to the metaphysical world and the spiritual world, but is your family accepting of this line as well as the spiritual world, and or was it something that you had trouble with growing up to deal with and to speak to your family about what you were going through?
Thank God they were very accepting of it. My
Mm.
mom didn't see it, so she kind of didn't understand it or didn't know how to help us because we were always in constant fear. But then when I started telling her I see these things, she believed it. And my dad too. Yeah, he was accepting. And he
That's
saw it
cool.
himself. So I was glad I wasn't the only crazy one.
Right. Wow.
So even with that, the book that you wrote, do you see like a series, or is there more stories, or it was just one book that have all this information in it, or do you have multiple stories to tell?
This one's all about growing up in my mom's house. I do plan to write another book, but it's totally a different topic. It's about candles that I do, candle manifestations, and how I've seen miraculous miracles come out of them. So I'm planning to write a book about the miracles I've witnessed with my own eyes. Of course, God's power and his angels, but how things can transform within seconds. I'm like, wow. So that's the next book I'm planning to write.
Yeah, because out of that first book, your life transformed into this healer, somebody who brings healing to other people. So, can you tell us a little more about the work you do now to
Yeah.
help people come into a better part of their own life?
Yes, I deal with a lot of people that suffer from suicide, anxiety, stress, even physical problems. I'll give you a quick story about my mom. She was diagnosed with breast cancer,
Mm.
and she was at stage 5, they said, which I never heard of it. I started doing candles on her, and I was telling her every week, comfort Reiki healing. So after she got rechecked, stage 2, and now they can't even find it no more. They have to go in through a needle. It completely vanished. They're like, it shrunk so much. So I believe the power from God's energy, and I'm just a vessel, in the middle,
Mhm.
beaming it and constantly sending her healing. I believe it did miraculously vanish. So thank God. But that's just one of the stories. I have so many more to say, but I believe that everybody should cleanse themselves. Everyone's getting like bags and clothes and stuff, but nobody really takes time to cleanse their energy field. So
Wow.
that's what I help them with. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm thinking that you said this was you're going to be writing another book.
Mhm.
I was thinking that people would want to read your first book to find out what you went through and how the journey that it's going to be taking you on. So kudos to you for being an author and sharing your story, because that's what
Thank you.
authors sharing their story. Some just hide behind the scenes and think it's okay, but you sharing your story and then helping others. That's amazing.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, Linda.
No,
Sorry.
it's okay. I say I just love to help because I like seeing someone that pictures of someone having COVID. They're admitted and begging me, please do pray for me, this and that. And then once I do that candle, within like 3 hours, they're released in a whole different look. It's just like you can't believe it, you know? So it's like, I always say, thank you, God and your angels, because I'm just a middle person. God has the power. So I'm like amazed how it works.
Wow.
Wow.
Now, you talked about in your bio about being a medium. And mediums are people who speak with those who have passed on. Is that correct?
Yes.
Can you talk about how that work goes for you and kind of how it manifests into your world?
Okay. So sometimes when I do readings for people that have crossed over, they're either earthbound spirits which haven't crossed over. Some of them are scared of going to hell, or they died suddenly. Those are the ones that I see the most clearest because they're still on earth, very clear on our dimension. And then it's the other side where they do cross over and I see mental images. To me, like, I know every medium's different, but the way I see them, they usually talk with their hands like sign language,
Mm,
or I'll feel like they're talking through me, and then I relay the message, and then the lady's crying and stuff. So mostly they show me like their hands, the way they talk, and smells and stuff. Yeah, I see them a lot. I
So
used
is
to
this
see them more when I was younger, and I used to pray for it to go away.
mm,
so is this something that's also talked about in your book as well, Linda?
Yes, it
Okay.
talks about it. Yeah, because we saw that lady, and she, so basically in my book, that lady committed suicide, and she appeared herself many times. So I used to see her in my vision of how she looks like, and she was like, making faces like when we were freaking out. She used to play with us, and I was very little. So
Hmm.
I do see them a lot. Yeah, and I do give readings for mediumship as well.
now, is this house still standing?
Yes, and my mom's still living in there. God bless her. It
Do you,
affects my older sister now. My older sister was diagnosed with schizophrenia, which I believe it
mm,
has to do with that crazy spirit in there. But in medical terms, they always want to phrase or put. She has a lot of fear because of that thing, and I always tell her, like, it's something playing with you. Don't listen to what it's telling you.
yeah.
I remember you saying that your mom, she prays and everything like that. So if your mom is still living there, I mean, how when family time comes, do you go visit, or how does that work with family?
Yes, we do. Unfortunately, that's one place. If I had to pick sleeping in a car or going to sleep at my mom's house, I would pick the car better. Because
Oh,
I guess it can sense, that I pick up on it. And my younger daughter, my little daughter, she also saw it too when we were there, and she was hiding in back of me. So it's very present. I told her I do professional space clearing, Ma. Do you want me to try to clear it? She goes, no, no, then it's gonna attack you. That was like, she goes, just leave it alone. I was like, okay.
Y'all, I don't know. Y'all, I'm sorry. I got the chills. I mean, and the reason is because throughout my entire life, I'm not anything in the metaphysical world, but I've had a lot of dreams that have manifested in the real world after I've had the dream.
Wow.
So I get a little spooked very easy. Needless to say, I always sleep with three dogs and a rosary underneath my pillow, and tonight I'll be sleeping on the couch with the rosary and the three dogs and my husband nearby. So, and that's not to make fun of anything in any way, shape, or form, because I am a believer of the metaphysical world. I know that our Lord and Savior is part of that world. We're all spiritual beings in one way, shape, or form, because I mean, scientifically, it is proven that the human body actually weighs less once your life force is extinguished. So, I just had to put that out there. But I want to know about what age were you when you decided that you were going to turn the tables and you were going to take control of your life and become that light from that darkness?
It was age 20. I had enough of being scared. There wasn't a minute in the day when my hands weren't sweating and my heart wasn't racing. I was scared all day, all night, to the point that I was ready to go on tranquilizers. I just couldn't take it
Mm.
no more. And that's when I started going to that lady that was helping me with healings. And then after that, I had like a spiritual thirst and I wanted to learn Reiki. I wanted to learn
Yeah.
everything. I just went on a rampage. And I thought to myself, I have to do something because this is not a way to live. I couldn't take it no more. I was always fearful of everything.
Yeah.
Right. Like you said, that was no way to live, being fearful, because fear doesn't come from God or whatever. So living in fear is just, it's not a way to live. So
Mm.
being able to get up out of that, and like as you were saying, you were 20 years old and you had to find a way to get out. So that's just
That's
like, wow.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was too much. I had enough of that. I was like, oh boy, I was just a barrel of nerves.
So where is your path moving forward? What does your life look like going forward now?
Right now, I have my own show on Strong Island Television. I have Healings on the Go. I go on twice a month. I talk about different stories. I have certain guests come on. I still do candles, which I love doing. Do Reiki. I go do professional house clearing. I do a lot of my services still. And I just like the show because I can talk more and I know people are watching it. It goes on TV twice a month.
Yeah.
So I'm just happy that I can help people. And even I always tell people, you can always reach out to me. I'll always give advice. I'm not like those kind of people that just do a candle and then you never hear from them again. I'm always on top of them all the time. So it becomes like a family. I'm like, are you okay? So I never just leave someone abandoned. Like, okay, I'll take your money and then goodbye. No, that never happens. And even if they say, I still don't feel too good, which I haven't really heard, maybe one time because this lady had cancer, but I
Mm.
will do another free follow up for you. And I'll make sure you feel something. So I'm always on top of all my customers. I have them for years.
Wow.
Mhm. So being an author and then doing a show, what do you see your plans going from 5 years from now?
I would love to write that book about my candle manifestation healings, the channelings, and how it started, how a voice talked through me. Like, I was staring at the flame and it was like, send healing through a candle and it'll work. You'll be successful. Not only can you pay your debts, because I was in a very hard spot financially and still kind of am, but um, not only will you help yourself, you will help others. And I was like talking to myself, you sure it's going to help people? Yeah, it will. I was like, okay, let's try. It can't be that hard, I was thinking. So now it's like I turned, my sister's like, how do you see anything in that wax? I could see how you feel it's a statue. So I'll show you real quick. It's a statue. I could feel your energy around it. I can see how your mood is. It's just, I guess after doing 2,000 of them already, I
Wow.
just I've like see a lot of stuff. Yeah, it's amazing.
So those are the actual candles that you do.
Yes. I do Trinity candles are for life and death purposes. I have to say that all the ones I've done, they all have been miraculous. Knock on wood, I have not seen nothing like miraculous happen so far. Knock on wood. And then
Mm.
I do like love candles and healing, different stuff like that. Yeah,
Mm.
sending the
Wow.
energy.
That's super cool. Those I love the metaphysical world myself. We have a mutual friend, Joanne Angelberry Cologne, who we were introduced through.
Yes, she's a doll.
Yeah, and I talked to her a lot. And before Joanne, I had a friend who I talked to a lot about Reiki and the metaphysical world. And I have crystals all over the place. I'm wearing Amazonite right now. And I love just connecting
Yes.
with so much of the earth and the spirit and the world around me. So when I get to speak about it, there are things that I don't know. And because I don't know about them, they do scare me, right? Spirits and things like that. So I do get a little freaked out and a little scared. And I think that people like yourself, Linda, and Joanne, and my other friend, bringing this information to the mass public helps people understand those things, like people like myself, so that we no longer have to be afraid, so that the people that unfortunately pay the ultimate sacrifice, which is committing suicide, or get put in psychiatric hospitals, like my friend Vicky Joe, who spent most of her life in psychiatric hospitals when she was misdiagnosed her entire life, can actually start to understand the things that are going on around them. So I commend you for
Thank you.
finding ways to understand what is happening around us in a realm that we can't see with our eyes, but we can feel with our senses.
Exactly.
Yeah, so it's an amazing world, but we don't stay in tune with it very well. And you're showing us and helping us understand how to stay in tune with it. Reiki does that. Your candles do that. The things that you have tuned into in your own body does that. I know that there's going to be a lot of people that want to get in touch with you after this interview, and I'm excited for that. How do they do that?
Okay, I'm always on Facebook. They can find me Linda Davetas, D as in David, A, V as in Victor, ETAS, or healingsonthego.com. That's my online store. Or healingsonthego@gmail.com. So they're free anyway to reach me.
Okay, I'm just typing those in here.
Thank you.
thego@gmail.com. For anyone that's watching on Facebook or on YouTube, they'll be able to actually just click on the links and go right to your sites, or shoot you an email and take a look at getting in touch with you personally if they have something that they want to talk to you about, whether it's getting in touch with a loved one that they need to get a message to, or maybe receive a message, get a candle, get some type of clearance from one of their chakras with Reiki or anything like that. So I know I've had a great time. But I do need to know this before I shut up, because I know I've talked way past my time here. Elizabeth's like, come on, tell us. Where is this house at? Like, what state at least?
It's in Washington Heights, New York.
Okay, yeah, I won't be
near
going
the
over
Bronx area.
Okay, I won't be going over there. I want to make sure.
Well, before we let you do your self-promotion and promote your book and everything, can you tell us a little bit about your family? Just
Sure. Me and my twin sister are both Reiki healers. My twin prefers not to do it for other people because she doesn't want to absorb anything, but I'm like the fiery one. I say, welcome everybody, let's go. I love to help, it's just my nature. My sister does not want to do anything to do with that because she gets a little off balance. My other three sisters, one of them is psychic too, but they're not really into healing. They receive it from me, but they don't do it as a professional. My dad passed away, but he's still my angel on the other side, talking through me all the time. And my mom now sees more, so now she knows that things, are very real. As she got older, she started seeing spirits from the other side. So it's interesting. I told her, now you see what I used to see little. I used to see it way more. I would see them everywhere I turned. They were like as if I see people. And I was praying. I said, please, God, I don't want to see it that clear. So now I see it on occasion, like if I channel them in, but not like everywhere I glance, they're there. Wow. I try to shut it down a little. I don't want to be like that. Yeah.
Well, go ahead. This time we'll let you go ahead and tell us about your book and where everyone can get your book from.
Okay, great. So my book is My Journey from Darkness to the Light. I'll show it to you. They could get it on Amazon.com. It's also on Barnes and Nobles, and on my site, healingsonthego.com, where it's the hardcover, and I sign all of them, all the books that come through my site.
Well, thank you so much, Linda, for being a part of this wonderful broadcast. And we love having you here and joining us. And maybe we can have you again when that second book comes out.
Thank you so much. It was an honor and a pleasure meeting both of you. Thank you so much for having me on.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thanks everybody, and stay tuned for next week. We'll be back on Let's Talk. Bye everybody. Bye Elizabeth. Bye Linda.
Bye-bye.